Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Welcome back to Those Were the Days, the podcast where we take a break from all that school stuff, kick back and watch some TV from back in the day, and see if it's still worth watching with today's eyes. I'm your host this week, Audie, and it's that time of year where some folks have a little extra time to watch a little extra TV. So we thought we'd take a look at episodes that did the same thing. We're talking about when the show went on location, out of their normal routine and normal location to have some fun, usually around a vacation or something. Now, before we get to our show this week, I have to introduce my fellow dudes and dudette TV watchers. First, we have Amy.
Sometimes doing this show makes me nostalgic for a lot of things from the past. Watching this episode made me absolutely not nostalgic for how high cut the bathing suits were in the 90s.
Next is Steven.
As the founder of many beach clubs, I find it best to mainly hire kids from high school, particularly kids from high school who all know each other. Not only know each other, but are mostly dating each other. And why do I make the two generically attractive ones the lifeguards? No reason.
And finally, Travis.
You know, even 30 plus years later, Screech had it right. If somebody thinks the earth is flat, we call them dumb.
Okay, all right, but that part was so horrible because it was like, that would be such a ridiculous thing for someone to say in a restaurant. I'm nostalgic for that.
Yes, those were the days, weren't they?
Yeah, we were smarter in the early 90s.
Wow. Yeah. So, in case you didn't catch that reference this week, we're finally getting to one of the shows we've talked around and a lot about before.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Saved by the Bell.
I'm so excited.
Now,
so excited.
Before we dive into it, because this is going to be a different episode than the typical Saved by the Bell, let's get everybody's history with it. Let's start with you, Travis.
I watched the hell out of Saved by the Bell. I remember watching it on Saturday mornings for a long time as part of like similar to like the Teen Nick thing, but it was like the teen block of Saturday mornings. So it was later. It was towards noon. For some reason, I think it was because they just knew teenagers weren't waking up at 6 a.m. to watch cartoons. And then all over reruns. I watched this one. I watched the college years. I remember the TV movies. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Amy, what about you?
Yeah, no, this was for sure. This was my soap opera. Like, because I never did like a lot of the other ones, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this was my soap opera for sure. I loved this show.
Nice. Steven, how about you?
Oh, yeah. This was a get home from school, turn on the TV, eat a snack, and watch Saved by the Bell. I've seen every episode of this show, probably 2 or 3 times. And I remember always the first time it happened when it loops back, you know, in syndication, when they play them all, and then you go back to the beginning again. I'm like, who is this teacher lady? Who are these? What is happening? It was just... threw me off. I mean, I watched Saved by the Bell the college years with my parents. I watched every bit of it, like the whole thing. I am a Saved by the Bell raised kid.
Nice. I am the same. Watch the hell out of it. I definitely remember watching it in syndication more on TBS because they played it non-stop back in the day. If you were in the Southeast region or had TBS at all, you saw Saved by the Bell plenty. But definitely remember watching it Saturday mornings too. Yeah, watched the heck out of it. Amy put it best. It was my soap opera too.
Yeah.
For sure. How long has it been since we've had a show where all of us are all on board?
I was just thinking the same thing.
How crazy
like Garfield?
is that?
Like I feel like
maybe Garfield. That was a while back.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of thing, right? Like it's
is.
like the cartoons that you couldn't avoid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just came home where it hit. It was at the time of day for all of us. And this is a show that like you could be 8 or you could be 15. And it had something in there for you to enjoy.
Right.
Like it really didn't matter what age you were, and you could get something out of it.
Because there's been stuff where between all of us, there's some stuff that's just slightly generational.
Sure.
or we missed it, or one of us missed it, or whatever.
Yeah, there's not like a huge gap in our ages, but when you're a kid,
Yeah,
a couple
Yeah.
years is
Mhm.
a lot.
right.
And
But
also, there's the factor of like, was it on cable or not? Because if it was
Yes.
on
Right.
cable, Amy probably didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it unless
Yeah.
I was at Doug's house,
hmm
and then I watched it.
But Saved by the Bell seems to be our sweet spot. So.
Yeah. It was.
Perfect.
So, yes, Saved by the Bell, the teen sitcom that ran on NBC from August of '89 to May of '93. Just that particular show, Saved by the Bell, regular show, totaling 4 seasons and 86 episodes. Unless you look at Amazon and they break it up into
Yeah,
some
they don't.
crazy
They're
wacko
just
way
like,
for some
yeah.
reason.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
It made no sense.
So, and as Stephen alluded to, when you watched it in syndication and saw it loop back, what you were seeing is it looped back to the original show that was not Saved by the Bell. That show was called Good Morning Miss Bliss, and that originally ran on the Disney Channel.
Yep.
Mhm.
It lasted 1 season before they decided to retool it into Saved by the Bell. That show focused on the teacher, Miss Bliss, who was played by Haley Mills. Now, who else watched Good Morning Miss Bliss and knew Haley Mills from Parent Trap?
Me.
Oh,
We're all raising our hands in an audio format. Like,
yeah,
I did.
Well, no, just you and me are, Steven.
Yeah, we're the only ones raising our hands.
Yeah.
I love it.
Dear audio
No,
listeners, Audie and Steven raised their hands.
And funny enough, we'll come to it. Haley Mills is not the only Parent Trap connection to Saved by the Bell.
Ooh.
Oh, that's okay.
So this show, Good Morning Miss Bliss, when it originally aired, took place at John F. Kennedy Junior High in like Indiana or something.
Mhm.
Focused more on the teachers. 4 of the main characters came over to Saved by the Bell: Zack, Lisa, Screech, and Mr. Belding. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. One other character I needed to mention from Good Morning Miss Bliss was the teacher, Milo Williams, who was played by T.K. Carter, who we just talked about a while back with Punky Brewster. And in going through this, I realized I know him more from Good Morning Miss Bliss than I did Punky Brewster. Like, I remembered him more here. So, but they retooled it, called it Saved by the Bell, and then it spawned 2 spin-off series. Saved by the Bell, The College Years, which we've talked about, and then Saved by the Bell, The New Class.
Which I did not watch.
Yeah, I saw some of it. It was okay. It was, it was trying to do the whole, hey, let's redo this with different people, and it just didn't catch
That
on.
never works.
Yeah.
Never.
Plus, I do remember I saw an episode of it, and by that point, Screech was a caricature of even what he was in Saved by the Bell, which was already a cartoon character.
Right.
He was even more so.
Because I think for that series, it was Screech and Belding were the only ones that carried over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, nope, can't do it.
There were also 2 TV movies. There was first Saved by the Bell Hawaiian Style, where they went to Hawaii and hung out with Kelly's uncle and helped save his beach resort, something. I don't know. I don't remember exactly.
That seems about right.
Yeah, it sounds good.
And it was actually that TV movie that led to enough popularity for them to do The College Years. So they did this movie, then The College Years. And then they did Saved by the Bell, Wedding in Las Vegas, where Zack and Kelly got married.
Yeah.
That was the event of the century for people of a certain age.
And it's funny because like the show starts on Disney Channel, gets canceled. They retool it, put it on NBC. It runs for 4 years. Now they're all aging out of high school, so they all graduate. Show ends. They do a summer vacation TV movie. It gets enough popularity. They're like, well, we'll do them in college. They get through what I think it's 2 seasons of college.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they ended on a cliffhanger and then canceled the show.
Right.
So they're like, let's wrap this up. And that's where we got the second TV movie. It's kind of interesting that way.
Yep.
The College Years was a good show too. Like, it stood on its own. I enjoyed that show a lot.
They actually tried to make them show a little bit more mature with them going to college and stuff. They tried to handle some stuff there.
And I really liked Bob Golick in that show. You remember he
Bob
cast
Golick
member.
was great.
He was awesome. He's probably what made that show float more than it maybe should have.
Probably. And then finally, we have one more, the revival of Saved by the Bell in 2020 for Peacock.
Which I completely forgot existed until today.
Yeah.
I
So
did.
it
I
I
missed
remember
it.
hearing about it.
it focused on a new group of teens,
Mhm.
some of who were kids of our original actors, because everybody else except Screech and Belding were in this as well. So like Zach was like mayor or something.
No, Zach Morris became the governor of California.
Right, the governor. That's what it was.
I
I
don't
read
I
love
want to
that
say that's
this.
and
unrealistic, but it's simply not.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
So he was
no.
governor. Jesse and Slater were working at the high school.
Yep.
It was a lot like Girl Meets World, where it's basically Boy Meets World
Yeah.
2.0. This was Saved by the Bell 3.0 at this point, since we had the college years and stuff.
I don't love this trope of the
No.
continuing the story with, oh, they all had kids. All the couples that were together in high
Mhm.
school all had children, and this is their
I
story of
blame-
their children. I'm like, can we just
I blame
let's
J.K. Rowling.
right? Like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Like, let's make a whole new story with new kids completely
yeah.
disassociated. Not even
It's-
like, if we want to make a show about high school, we can do it, and we don't
And
even
if you
have to
want
call
to
it Saved by the
put
Bell.
if you want to put one of the original actors in as an adult so that like we the parents of the people who are watching the show can go,
Right.
look what they did.
I would love
That's
to know
fine.
if we are the parents of the people watching the show, or we're just old
No.
trying to connect with the show, and the kids are
Right,
like,
but I don't
"What
think
is
that
Saved
was
by
the
the Bell?"
plan.
No,
I
Stephen,
don't
the answer
Right.
to your question is yes.
like. I don't
Yeah.
think the
Yeah.
kids
Right,
care.
and
The
that's-
kids are watching YouTube.
No.
No,
Why
they
are
don't.
they're
Yeah.
not watching
There's-
this?
Nobody.
It's
yeah.
it's the thing. I understand nostalgia and I
Mhm.
get it and I like it. Obviously, we're doing this show. It's all about nostalgia.
It is.
No,
But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
a
part of
show
our
like
business
that,
plan.
yeah, like a revival like that feels like it's weaponizing nostalgia
Yes.
A little bit.
in a way that I don't like. I don't mind reviving a show like The Connors coming back, bringing back all of the characters made sense because we're just going to check them out later. King of the Hill's doing that right now with
Yes.
like,
Right.
hey,
I'm pretty
that's-
excited about that.
Mhm.
yeah. But for some reason, like just saying, oh, okay, we're going to have the kids of all of these high school kids you watched before at the same high school. They even had to like, from reading synopsis and stuff, they had to manufacture a reason to even have it at Bayside High
Yeah.
Right.
and create stories. Like basically, Zack becomes the governor, somehow cuts a bunch of funding, and then they have to close the poor schools so that all the kids have to go to like the rich neighborhood schools now. I'm like, I don't like any of that.
That's not
actually.
good.
No, that
Say,
sounds
also,
terrible.
It's not
that's
great.
not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
That's not how
No.
any of
No.
this works.
It's kind of the other way. Or anyways,
I don't know how it works.
we don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
No.
It's
No,
a
we don't.
whole.
So,
Please, my blood pressure.
so let's bring it back to the original series that we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. So the original cast. So I'm going to start with the cast of Good Morning Miss Bliss, the first 4 characters from that show that carried over because that's where they got hired. So Zach Morris, played by Mark Paul Gosselaar, main character, fourth wall breaking. He's the schemer who will do anything to get out of work and get the girl. And he, even for the Miss Bliss show, he was kind of envisioned as a linchpin character, and apparently was one of the most difficult roles to cast. And when Mark Paul came in, he immediately won everybody over with his first read through, and they were like, "That's Zach. He's got it."
Nice.
Next, we've got Samuel Screech Powers, Dustin Diamond,
Mhm.
Zach's nerdy weird friend, with the hugest crush on Lisa Tuttle. And apparently, when they were going through trying to cast Screech, Gosselaar was the one who asked to read with a ton of kids so that he could be involved, and he's the one who insisted that Dustin Diamond play Screech. It's like,
Find me the most Weird Al
Right.
child you can.
yeah, pretty much. And I mean, he was like, he's Screech in real life. He needs to be this character. So
It is funny too because I've seen some interviews with Mark Paul since then talking about like how part of why eventually they had a bit of a falling out with him was just the age difference because
Mhm.
Screech, Dustin Diamond was like 3 or 4 years younger than the rest of them,
right.
and they just didn't have a lot in common. So they were all, by the point of the episode that we watched, they're all 17, 18, 19, and he's 14.
Right.
Yeah.
And
He's not like
that's
14.
he doesn't, but that's a big age gap
Mhm.
that at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, at that,
So-
yeah, that time, yeah, you're for 13, 14, you're still real weird, and everybody else is coming out of being real weird
Yeah.
for the most part.
So next we've got Lisa Turtle. Was it Turtle Tuttle? Played
Turtle.
Turtle.
by Lark Voorhees, a spoiled materialistic one of the group who loved to go shopping. And it's funny, they originally conceived Lisa as a rich Jewish princess from Long Island. But Lark came in, and as soon as she read for it, they knew she was perfect. So they retooled the character to fit her specifically.
Wise move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
plan.
So, and then finally we have Dennis Haskins as Mr. Richard Belding. So for the pilot, Belding was a older humorless fart called Mr. Gerald Belding, and it was a different actor. But right after the pilot, they were like, this isn't working, and recast Haskins to be younger and actually have a different kind of sense of humor. Which we didn't get Belding in this episode we're watching, but he was an interesting character for sure.
Yeah, we got his
Oh, he was always
stand-in.
Right.
The stand-in, Mr. Belding.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then we get, the Saved by the Bell, and we bring in some other characters. We got AC Slater, played by Mario Lopez. His character was conceived as an Italian American John Travolta type. Um,
I mean, it's not a million miles away.
No.
Well, they had trouble finding somebody to really fit that the way they wanted to. So then they opened it up to more ethnicities. 2 days later, Lopez auditioned for it and got it right off of Kids Incorporated.
I'm telling you, someday I'll make you watch the episode of The Golden Girls with Baby Mario when Baby Mario Lopez gets deported, and
we gotta
it's
do that.
very good.
We gotta do that. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That guy seems all right. I like Mario
Yep.
Lopez.
So then we had Kelly Kapowski, played by Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Now, originally, Thiessen went up against Elizabeth Berkley and Jenny Garth for the role. But it basically came down to the producers thinking that Thiessen was the perfect all-American girl for it, and it got her. So she got the role for that. And then finally, we've got Jessie Spano, played by Elizabeth Berkley. Now, even though she wasn't picked for Kelly, the producers did not want to lose her because they thought she was the strongest actress in all the casting.
I
And
buy
she-
that.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
good.
She actually auditioned for the role of Karen, Zach's love interest in Good Morning Miss Bliss back in the day, but lost the role because she was so much taller at the time.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say she tall.
But- Now that the boys caught up, they were like, "Oh yeah, she could hang with them. It's okay." And they were having trouble casting for Jessie and offered her the role, and she was like, "Sure, I'll take it."
You're
And
not
that's how we
kidding.
get our main cast.
You are not kidding, Audie. So while you were going over these, I was dropping in IMDb and just looking at some details
Mhm.
about the different characters. Their ages are all over the place. Like
Yeah.
all over the place. From 1972 to 1977 is the stretch. It's amazing to me that we shoved them all in a room and said, yeah, these kids are all the same.
They're all in the same
Mhm.
class.
I mean, but it did work. They told you they're in the
Yeah.
same grade, so your brain said, okay. And you
Okay.
didn't really go much further than that.
But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like especially in high school, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there are the kids that have
They're
gone
good.
a little.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, look, man, in middle school, I was tied with two other people for second tallest in my class. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, it's just
Yeah.
It's
just
Exactly.
stuff
that you stopped
changes.
growing at that point.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was it. I peaked.
Okay.
Well, and like so you've got 5 of the 6 kids are all within like 2 years, right? They're all like
Mhm.
72 to 74 being born, and then
Yeah.
it's Screech is the young one.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just
Yeah.
that's the biggest gap. But like, yeah, and it all worked because they all had great chemistry together, and they're in basically every episode is
Yeah.
effectively those 6 characters and maybe one other character, like Mr.
Right.
Belding, the 6 kids,
hmm
except for a 10 episode stretch. We can talk about that if we want.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Like even the teachers, there was only a couple of teachers that really
Mhm.
rotated in
Yeah.
throughout the series.
There was a Miss Bliss, right?
That was only in the first in
First
the
season.
original show. After
Yeah.
that, she was gone.
Yeah.
But then it became that when they syndicated that show later, it's Saved by the Bell. It's just
Yeah.
season
Yeah, it was
1 of Saved by the Bell is
for junior high
effectively Miss
years.
Bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Basically.
it's That's why it's so weird when you loop back around,
Yeah,
because
and
the topic of the show changed.
Yeah.
right.
Like you're used to seeing the kids as the star, and then in the first season, you're like, why is we're really focused on this teacher?
Mhm.
Yep.
And then they brought some other characters in towards the end, as the main characters are like trying to get out of
Yeah, when you need
being
like a
typecast.
cousin. Like,
Well, so it's actually kind of cool the last season what happened there. So the
Mhm.
last season, fourth season of Saved by the Bell, they did a short run. They did
Right.
like 13 episodes.
They were
and
trying
they
to
filmed them
squeeze
all.
as much out as they could.
Yeah, so they film them all, and it ends with them graduating. And the graduation episode is actually a pretty good one because like Jesse wants to be the valedictorian, but Screech wins it, except that he like gives up being valedictorian for Jesse, and then she learns about that and is like, "Oh, you deserve to be it." Like it's kind of a cool episode. But that was the
Mhm.
final thing. Well, after they'd filmed everything, NBC was like, "Hey, you want to do 10 more and
Right.
fill it out and make it a full season?" And they're like, "Sure." So now they've got to do new contracts with everyone to bring them all back.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to negotiate a contract with Elizabeth Berkley and Tiffany Thiessen.
Mm-hmm.
So their characters, they're the only two characters that didn't come back. So they brought in a new character, but these episodes were put in the middle of the season.
Right.
sure.
So all of a sudden, if you're watching it in order in like season 4, 10 episodes in, you just suddenly get a brand new character. Kelly and Jesse are gone, and this new
Mhm.
character of Tori shows up for 10
Yep.
episodes, and then she just disappears. And the other two come back and they finish the season. It's
Yep.
so bizarre.
Wow, that's weird.
What a wild choice.
So Tori was played by. Oh, I should have brought up IMDb.
It's Leanne something.
I had
Leanne.
it and I just closed
Yeah.
the tab. Hold on, I'm going.
Leanna Creel.
Leanna
That's it.
Creel. She is a triplet in real life.
Oh,
What?
Her
wow.
and her sisters were in a couple of Parent Trap TV movies, along with Haley Mills as
oh,
the
nice.
mother figure,
look at
Uh,
that.
also playing her doppelganger self.
Yeah,
That's-
Parent
I
Trap
had no
3 in
idea.
1989.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Parent Trap Hawaiian Honeymoon.
Right.
Of course.
Exactly. So I always connect Saved by the Bell to the Parent Trap, not only because of Miss Bliss, but because of Tori.
That's awesome.
I never knew that. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever seen any of the like sequels of Parent Trap.
Oh, I knew about the first one Audie knows about, and I knew about the
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap, and that was
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
I knew they existed. I don't remember anything from them, but I remember them. That they were a thing, and that she was on that with her sisters. So
Man,
Okay.
we were just always splitting up twins and stuff from
Yeah.
back in the day.
Hospitals could not
Right?
keep track of whose baby
Isn't that
went
the
where.
whole premise of Sister Sister?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Aren't
separated
that
at
two
birth.
twins that are reunited?
yeah,
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
man,
Yeah.
what a
So
good show
such
that
a-
was. That's going on the list.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I love
That's gotta
watching
come back
anything
at
with
some
Jack
point.
K in it. Let's go.
Jack-A. We should just do Jack-A. Wait a
Jack
minute, can
K,
we do
whatever
that?
she's
Is
in.
there
Actually,
enough?
Jack
He's
Hay
probably
mode.
got enough TV. We could do that.
Has to,
I
right?
would-
At
I
least,
would
I mean, we have at
100%
least
do
2
that.
episodes, right? Be it Sister, and
Yeah.
what was the other 221?
Yeah,
221.
221.
Yeah.
227?
Yeah,
227,
That's what it was.
yeah, yeah,
227.
227.
stuff
221.
Jack
And I know
K
she-
is in.
There's something else she's doing recent too. I know, but
She's done like Hollywood Squares and Family Feud and stuff.
well,
She's
yeah,
one of,
and I'm sure
in
she's
that
guest starred and stuff.
course.
yeah.
Jack
But-
K.
All right, one more thing about the regular series Saved by the Bell: the theme song. The
Yes.
unforgettable theme song. So, story behind this theme song: executive producer Peter Angle hated the name Saved by the Bell. Like, he was working on this show, he wanted the show, he loved the show, hated that was the name. So he wanted to do everything he could to make sure that name didn't stick among anything else. So when they were telling people to come up with a theme song, he gave explicit instructions that the phrase "Saved by the Bell" not be used at all in the theme song.
I have
A-
bad news.
A
Yeah.
week later, he listened to 4 different composers, all following his rules and all falling flat. Scott Gale decided to completely ignore his rules altogether and wrote the theme song we all know and love.
Wow.
And Peter Engel couldn't help but admit it was the best and perfect for the show.
It's so good.
It really
Mhm.
is.
Like
It's
you
one of
can
the
you can
goats.
One with
taste the
earworm.
plastic cup with the little lines on it while you listen to
Yep.
this.
You
It's
can.
every arcade carpet
Mm-hmm.
in existence in America is
And
the opening animation.
and
Yes.
kids, because we watched TV at a time where you couldn't skip the credits, we always heard it. We
Yeah.
always saw
Yeah.
it. Like the nostalgia bomb of
Yeah,
seeing
so-
all those clips. You
Mhm.
know, of Slater lifting the barbell, of the girls doing their little dance thing together at the max.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't skip it. When I turned this on to watch it during lunch, I was like, "Well, we're not skipping intro. Are you kidding me?" It's so
I
good.
love a good intro with clips because then you
Mhm.
do the thing when you watch the show
Yeah,
and you
where you're
get to
looking
an
for the clip.
episode where one
Yep.
of the clips came from and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
is
it was foretold.
Yeah, the Leonardo DiCaprio.
Whoa, there it is."
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's cool. This
Yep.
one's great because they use so many effects and stuff. You're like, "Oh, they learned how to do
Mhm.
like mats, so you could watch
Yeah.
it's playing through a zigzag or whatever."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
looked like
Mhm.
every pair of shorts I ever owned as a kid. It was just
This
the
is what I'm
best.
saying. It's
It was
so
Mhm.
good.
all those
Yep.
Yeah. No,
colors. It was
my
great.
very first note watching this was just 90s ass 90s opening.
Yeah.
Because it is just like it is the early 90s distilled into 2 minutes of footage.
Absolutely.
You
It
have to cap that
absolutely
for
is.
the previously on. That was good.
Uh-huh. Okay, so the TV movies did the great big on location moves. We know that. They went to Hawaii, they went to Vegas. I thought I'd kind of ease us in with something a little closer to home, but still not on the regular set. So, sprinkle through the first half of the third season, the whole gang, except for Lisa, take summer jobs at the Malibu Sands beach resort. They get the job because Lisa's rich parents are actually members of the resort. So, the episode we're watching is the first one of those. And it was really funny looking through. I was like looking through the listing, and it's funny how it was like a couple and then every other episode. So every other episode you had them working at the beach over the summer, them back at school doing stuff. Them
That's
working
so
at the
funny.
beach over the summer, them back at school doing stuff.
That's
Nobody
bizarre.
does that. Like, why would you just not? Even when
It was really weird.
anytime anyone
Let me
went on
tell you.
locations, it was a series of like a
Yeah.
story
Mhm.
arc at that location.
And
If
it still
I-
was just
Yeah,
interspersed
just-
between the normal show.
Air
Man,
dates.
remember that summer we had? Yeah. If I was a member of a very fancy beach club, I simply would not want my child's idiot friends working there.
Right?
Simply would not.
No.
Yeah. No. But because of this, we get two specific new characters for these episodes. We get Leon Carosi, who's the owner boss of the Malibu Sands, played by Ernest Sabella.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ernie Sabella.
He's so good.
Ah.
Good old Pumbaa.
Exactly.
Pumbaa.
Yep.
Among
Pumbaa.
many other credits, but yeah, he's Pumbaa.
Yeah, but yeah. Like, yeah, he can have
He's-
all the credits he wants.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
Let's be real.
He's Pumbaa, and man, Leon Carosi is like every horrifically awful boss in customer service I've ever had.
Like, I'm pretty sure I worked for him when I worked at the amusement park. Like, I'm pretty
Absolutely.
sure.
And the whole like, let's treat the members with respect, but the staff, no, I'm going to kick them down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
need to know who they work for.
And just
Mhm.
fawning over every single guest
Rich old
Yeah.
lady.
Mhm.
because he's just trying to get all the money he can out of them.
Yep. The second cast member we get is his daughter, Stacy Carosi, played by
Mhm.
Leah Remini.
Oh, Leah Remini.
And this is
Mhm.
where I know her from and had the biggest crush on her because of all these episodes.
Okay,
Like,
but she doesn't look any different. Like,
No.
No,
she
she
has
doesn't.
not aged even a little.
No.
no, she's
Uh,
not.
This show taught me what crushes were. I just had a crush on every girl in this show.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, yeah.
Like all
Oh,
of
yeah.
them at any
But
point.
I had the biggest crush on her throughout these episodes because talk about soap opera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These were dramatic episodes.
Oh my gosh.
A lot going down at the beach club.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
So I thought we'd go ahead and start with the first episode of these beach club things, and it was season 3, episode 2, Zack's birthday party. So we get introduced to the staff and Carosi talking to him. Zack lets us know that they all got the jobs because of Lisa's parents. And Carosi's given his big speech about everybody having to work and that the members are always right.
I
And
had
we get
forgotten actually that Zack broke the fourth wall. For some reason, that did
Yeah, I
not.
did too.
I just
Mhm.
completely forgot it. It didn't even stand out to me in my head. So
Well,
when
he
he
didn't
did
really
it, I
do
was like,
much of
"Oh
that.
yeah, I forgot."
I remember that it happened. I forgot how often he did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Like it's all the time.
It was not something that happened much in this episode, but it was definitely something he did all the time. That and talking on his big old cellular
His
phone
Cell
in the middle
giant
of
phone.
cell
break.
phone.
Yeah,
I remember that.
yeah. Because he
Oh
would
yeah.
freeze time and stuff and start talking to
Yep.
you, and then time would
Mhm.
go
Yep.
again. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
but it just, I just had completely forgotten that.
Yep. So, Zach's Leon Carosi's going over everybody's job. Um, Zach's making a joke with Slater. Carosi calls him out on it. He's like, "Well, you're so good. You should be the social director."
Okay, it starts out though, right? Because there's the voiceover. I forgot this. This part I thought was quite good, right? You get the voiceover as we're looking at the beach club, and it's Zach
Mhm.
talking about, girls on the beach and fun in the sand, and this is going to be the best summer. And then it opens up with Kurosi being like, I'm sure that you think this is gonna be girls on the beach and fun in the sand, and you think it's gonna be the best summer of your life. And
Mhm.
that's when Zach breaks the fourth wall. He's like, wow, this guy's good.
Right.
That's good.
That was
Yeah.
fantastic.
I
I
mean,
was like, okay, all right.
to do that kind of thing, you gotta give the writers credit for writing it so well
Yeah.
to
Oh
make
yeah.
that work. Um, but so he gives Zach social director, thinking that's going to be some kind of demotion. Um, which later Zach totally turns it around in Zach style.
Of course.
Um, then he gets to Kelly and don't think she's big enough to be a lifeguard.
Which I
Sir.
mean, come
Yeah,
on now.
right. Slater actually sticks up for her, but then Jesse,
Oh, by the way, real quick, Slater sticks up for her, and don't think I didn't capture that. Because 18-year-old Mario Lopez
Hmm.
is still going through puberty at this point, because he sticks up for Kelly and says,
She'll be great.
And that's the take they kept.
yeah, it is.
they kept that.
They
Mhm.
kept that.
So
Ah, that's good.
Yeah,
now I have that forever.
nice. And then we get Jesse jumping on her soapbox, thinking Kurosi is a misogynist, and
I mean, she's not wrong,
I
but
was
Yeah.
about to say he proves her right and says, "Okay, Miss Talker, you can be our receptionist." And it's just like, okay, great,
They didn't have these
awesome.
jobs assigned to them like when they got on the when they got there.
Like,
Like,
surely they should have filled out some paperwork with
yeah,
Yeah.
he's just
HR.
You would
Like,
making
think.
this up.
there's a lot that
Mhm.
happens.
Seems very ineffective.
Apparently, that's the way Kurosi runs his establishment.
I guess
I like to
so.
line everybody up on a beach.
Wait till they say
Just-
stuff and then
Mm.
get them.
Yeah. Get 'em.
And then we get Zach asking to leave early on Saturday for his birthday. And Kurosi's like, "Yeah, sure, you could do that. And if you do, you're fired. Don't come back."
Okay.
And Zach's just like, "Okay, great." So then we get into what everybody's doing. And we see Zach being, the social director, rubbing sunscreen on the cute girls on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just Zach. Which I got to put in here. I remember seeing an interview more recently with Mark Paul talking about Saved by the Bell and everything, and how the interviewer, forget who it was talking about what it was like playing this character, and it's like, yeah, Zach was terrible. Like, he wasn't supposed to be the ideal. He was supposed to be the horrible person. I don't get why people love him so much that way, but
I mean, media literacy is
Yeah.
not
right.
Mhm.
Well, he was
Uh-huh.
the
Look at
cool
every
kid.
guy that really
Right.
loves Fight Club.
Yeah, that's true. We were in that stage, but like even
Mhm.
I was
It's-
watching a video, a recent interview, and it was before we even talked about doing Saved by the Bell with him, and he was talking about like he was the dork in real life who had to pretend to be the cool kid in this show. He's like, I was not the cool kid at school ever, and we're like, we know you were a drama theater kid, and they're never
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be the
yeah.
cool
No,
kid.
no, theater
Like, we
kid,
get it.
obviously.
It's like I had to play this archetype I had no idea how to play because I've never
Mhm.
been that cool kid. I was like, that's actually kind of neat to know, about that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Well, he
cute
did it
though.
well.
It is.
Yeah.
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 that
Like,
helped.
regardless of being a dork, he
Oh,
was
sure.
still a cutie pie.
hmm Then we cut to Kelly and Slater doing lifeguard stuff. Slater's going to get some water, or ask Screech for water, and Screech can't let it go on just what he wants to drink exactly.
Screech being Screech.
Yep.
Well, we
Not
understand
again.
Screech now. Well, we didn't
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
Screech
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So Kelly's still on the lifeguard stand. One of the member guys comes and starts hitting on her, and she's just like, "Whatever, I'm doing my job, dude. Leave me alone."
Yeah.
To which Kurosi comes along and wants to talk to her and says, "Don't flirt with the members."
Yeah, he brings her down from the
Mhm.
lookout tower. She's a lifeguard. Leave the girl
Right.
alone. Talk to
Yeah.
her
She's
about this.
guarding lives.
Yeah,
Yep.
like, geez, dude. I did like how she handled that jerk though.
She did.
Like they
Oh, yeah.
didn't just let her not be defensive, and
Yeah.
just handle it. She
It was an interesting turn for Kelly in this particular run of the series where she was a little bit more of a character than just the all-American kind
Okay,
of
but
bimbo type.
also she's like 16.
yes, very
Right.
true. Yeah.
Sir? Sir?
Yeah.
Mhm.
How old are
Yeah.
you?
Sir,
24.
how often do you have to tell people that you've moved into their neighborhood?
We didn't have those lists then, unfortunately.
I
So,
know.
so then we move on to Jesse at the receptionist desk of the place, and Kurosi comes in and is trying to teach her how to answer the phone the correct way,
Mhm.
and gets a call. And he's like, "No, we don't give discounts to family members, Ma."
Because it's great, because she answers the phone in a very professional but succinct way. And he's
Mhm.
like, no, 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 no. And I feel this deeply as someone who has answered phones in a corporate
Yes.
environment.
Yup.
And you have your little script and no one wants to hear it. Like, they just want to
Right.
get on with whatever it is they called for.
Especially
So-
in this day and age where it's so hard to get a freaking human as it is.
Yeah. Like, I
I-
don't care. Please just.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
say, thank you for calling CVS where the customer comes first. How may I help you? I'll never forget it. It's on the post-it note on the phone, so you didn't forget to say it.
So you didn't
Oh, yeah.
forget.
So
No, they just want to know if their prescription's ready.
Yeah, they don't
Mhm.
need this.
No.
Simple hello will suffice.
So Kurosi leaves, and then Jesse's talking with some of the gang about a secret birthday party they're planning for Zack.
Mhm.
It's Slater, Kelly, and Lisa coming in to talk to her about it, make sure everything's good. And apparently, Lisa's parents is letting them use their beach house for it. Blah blah blah. All right, here comes Zack. Don't tell him. So Zack comes along. They all go on break or whatever. He's like, okay. And then another young female comes by that Zack needs to hit on because that's Zack Morris. And he's asking, he's doing his spiel and she's not falling for it at all. She's literally rolling her eyes at him. He's asking, who are you looking for? He's like, oh, Mr. Kurosi. He's like, what do you want that jerk for? To which she's like, oh, that jerk's my father.
Okay, but he's
Dun-dun.
still a jerk though, and that's not
He is.
like
Right.
like I feel like that's pretty obvious. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Zack tries to save himself. He doesn't work too well. Then we get our scene the next day. Kelly apparently is running in the morning, comes in. And, it's funny. I was like thinking about it. I was like, are we trying to do Baywatch but not be Baywatch?
Yeah.
with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baywatch for
To the point-
kids.
Yeah.
To the point where I looked because I was like, did she go on to Baywatch after this? But no, it was
No.
Beverly Hills
90210.
90210.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About the same kind of character. But
Mhm.
anyways, so she comes into, they're staying with Lisa apparently at the beach house they're supposed to be having the party at later. I don't know. The girls are all staying with Lisa for the summer. Kelly's coming in for a run. Jesse's getting out of the shower, complaining about her being up so early. She's like, well, you snored. So she's like, well, you were humming, was it
The Rocky theme while you put your sweatpants on. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a good idea. I should do that actually.
And then both Kelly and Lisa complain to Jesse about being a big old messy person. Messy Jesse.
You should never live with friends. It sounds like a good idea, but then it's not a
It's
good
not.
idea.
That was my best roommate. My best roommate was someone that I got along with but had nothing in common with.
Yes.
And we just like did our thing and we were cool. We were never upset to be in the same room, but we didn't do stuff together. We just cohabitated.
That's the dream. You don't want to be
Uh-huh.
best friends because one of you's gonna be gross and the
Because
other
that's
one's
what
gonna
happened
want
the
the kitchen
previous
clean.
semester, and it was just
It's
she
never
decided
ends
to
well.
pledge a sorority, and it got really messy.
Oh no.
It was very bad.
I remember one of the last years I worked at camp, I was on support staff, and it was me and 4 guys in a cabin together. We were all friends. And I think it worked because we were the only 4 people in a cabin made for 12. So we
Yeah,
had plenty of space.
There you go. Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
It was a
Yeah.
salute your shorts size cabin where you just have
Yeah.
all the room in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we each had an entire bunk to do with as we pleased.
Mhm.
That's perfect.
So the guys show up to pick up the girls to take them to work, but first tell them to cook breakfast for them.
Yeah. Go for it,
Oh,
AC
that was-
Slater.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
It's like chauvinism at its finest.
Slater and Jesse should not be together. There's no universe in which that
No.
works, but they constantly do that. They put them together, and
Uh-huh.
it's like this isn't
She would
gonna
just
happen.
kill him.
They
She
kept
would
doing
murder
it.
him.
They kept doing it. They did it with the frickin' revival on Peacock.
Yes, yeah. It's there are other humans, Jesse. Go
Yeah.
find a good one. You know? Plenty
Yeah.
of fish in the sea.
You're just like you're 2 minutes
Mhm.
away from an "Am I the asshole" post about like
I
for
didn't wa-
telling my husband that I don't want to make his breakfast every day. Like,
He gets mad when I don't have the coffee ready.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
It's like, oh my
come on,
gosh.
girl.
It's
Yeah.
the TV trope of people that like oil and water
Yeah.
Mhm.
somehow getting along. Like you always have the friend group on TV shows that are 5 people that would never spend any amount of time in close proximity to each
Yeah.
other, but
Yeah.
for some reason do.
Well, it
Mhm.
creates easy drama, easy
Yeah.
funny
Oh, yeah.
drama. You know, it's not
It's-
dissimilar from the honeymooners.
Yeah.
It's stuff that you're like, that's real, and you get to expect it every week, and you get to
I was
laugh.
gonna say everybody is the Breakfast Club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we get to talking about Zack and Stacy Carosi, and how he's gonna turn it around with her.
Again, give up. You had a really bad intro,
Yeah.
and she doesn't seem like very nice anyway.
The big thing too, right, is it's that she's from New York.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
Mhm.
that very
Gosh.
East Coast,
York
West Coast
versus-
nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, hang
Yep.
10, surfer boy.
Exactly, which is
Yeah.
what we get later that morning as we're doing the whole staff meeting, and Stacy is being put in charge of everybody.
'Cause,
Slater says his typical nonsense about working for a woman under his breath, and she's like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "It's great to work for a woman."
Yeah. Slater.
Trying to save it. Again, Stacy not impressed with any of it. Any of the
put-
beach surfer dude
They
stuff.
put Stacy in a difficult position because let's assume for a minute that she's roughly the same age as the kids she's supposed to be telling what to do.
Yeah.
It's a
Or
really
at best,
bad.
she's like a couple years older, right? Like
Maybe.
she's
Yeah.
she's
Mhm.
at NYU.
Yeah.
And she's come home for the summer.
First year
Yeah.
in college, and she's
Right.
telling, and man, she was mean. She's just brutal.
Yep. As someone who
mean-
has worked in that kind of situation for the summer, that is not an easy position to come into at all.
No.
And that's if you even know everybody. And if you don't know everybody, like I've seen that happen too, where somebody who barely knew anybody was in leadership and it did not work well.
No.
Oof.
And it was not their fault either. Like it was just like we said, oil and water with Jesse and Slater.
Mhm.
Oil and water between the staff and her
Yeah.
being in charge. So then we cut to a scene of Zack still doing his public relations thing, playing volleyball with some girls.
They
And-
needed a sixth.
I mean,
I like when at the beginning when they're describing when Carosi is describing the position, right? And it's like one of the things is like, you know, if they want a chair, you get them a chair. If their kid wants to bury you in the sand, you start digging. Because
Right.
do they tip for that? Because they haven't yet, but maybe they'll start with you.
Right. So Zack's doing what Carosi said, just to a select number of members.
Yeah.
A very
And-
specific subset of
Mhm.
members.
Yes.
And Stacy comes out and calls him out on it completely, really busting his chops, really getting on his nerves too. All right, then we cut to Jessie trying to order a cake for Zack, as she's supposed to be doing her job. So,
Because there's literally no other time that she could have done this.
right. Excuse
No.
me. No, it could have been though. I mean, trying to order a cake during business hours.
That's
I
true.
mean,
That's true. That's
you
that's
know,
fair.
that could be the thing. But she's spelling out Zach's name, and then Kurosi comes up and she's like, "By the sea," you know, trying to change the subjects, make it sound like she's talking to somebody. Kurosi's like, "Good job."
If they're looking for another one,
Mm-hmm.
give them the wrong directions.
Yeah. Then she gets back on the phone. It's like, okay, let's start this over. Z-A, and then Zach actually shows up. Oh, sorry, wrong number, and hangs up the phone. And Zach is just not having a good time right now. Getting his chops busted by Stacy. And he's not sure what he's going to do. So he leaves, and then Lisa shows up and says there's a problem with the party. She forgot to ask her parents if they could actually borrow the beach house for it. And apparently they're throwing a party in the middle of the night.
Yeah, they're old people.
Right.
Gang, are any of you going to a party at midnight?
I don't
No.
even know what midnight looks like. I haven't seen it in years.
Because
No.
that's the whole thing, is they're throwing it like, because he'll be expecting a party on Saturday night of his birthday. So they're holding it essentially Friday night at 12:01.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that
And
time
Lisa's
is.
parents, who are surgeons, who I'm sure have a great sleep schedule as it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
Right.
are throwing a party at midnight. Okay.
They don't have parties. They
All
don't
right,
even.
baby.
The only thing they look at is the back of their eyelids
Mhm.
when they're not doing surgery.
Maybe
But-
they're having a fishbowl party.
Maybe. Anyways, the gang was like, well, why don't we just have it here at the beach club? We'll clean up after. Nobody will know the difference. We're like, yeah, that'll work.
Bold
My
move,
note
teenager.
on that, by the way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My note at that point was this is the worst idea in the long and sad history of
Yeah.
bad ideas.
But they're
Right.
teenagers, so it's a great idea.
Yeah,
in
so
their brain.
actually,
Actually,
yeah.
Yeah.
True.
It'd be like-
All right.
That's, but yeah, I mean, if Zach's birthday was at the end of the summer, I'd say, yeah, go for it, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
But first
Yeah,
thing,
not first week.
Right.
When
exactly.
you need a
First week
job.
on the job.
That frontal lobe, man, it does a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
Gotta grow that thing as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we cut to later next day. Slater's checking things out on the beach from the lifeguard tower. We'll just go with things instead of what, you know. Kelly's just like, yeah, whatever, okay. Then we get Screech walking the beach in a hot dog suit.
Of course.
And all I could think about was, what was the movie where what's his name is in a hot dog suit?
Oh, I know. Accepted. Justin Long was in a hot dog suit.
Right.
Or right?
No, it wasn't just
No, it
he
was
had what's his name?
yeah, it was well, I just watched Moneyball the other day. Help.
Right, exactly, him.
What, Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Yes.
Yep. And just,
Got it.
We got there.
you know, if you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I won't repeat it here. But that's what I thought about with Screech in the hot
Well,
dog
because
suit.
Zach found out how much more money Screech is making
Right.
because he's
Right.
waiting tables and getting tips.
Mhm. So Zach decides to angle himself back into being a waiter by competing with Kurosi on his off time. Somehow he needs money, but he's got money to get a hot dog stand and take it out to the beach and sell hot dogs.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Somehow.
people willing to
Sure.
let you borrow their hot dog cart at any time.
Uh-huh. Right?
They say you have to spend money to make money.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Scared money don't make no money.
I don't think that's what they meant.
Yep. So Kurosi sees what's going on. He's complaining, and Zach's like, "No, this is legal. That's where your jurisdiction ends. This is where I can just do whatever. This is public beach, boy. buddy?
Which I'm pretty
And
sure you would still need a permit for, bud.
Probably.
Yeah, it's
plus,
food.
there is
Can I see your
nothing.
surf safe? Thanks.
There's also no world in which Kurosi doesn't just say, "Well, okay, enjoy your new job." And
Yes.
fires him
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can
Exactly.
fire him. It's fine. But if they're
Like,
hired because of the turtles, then he'd probably want to keep the members happy by keeping
Right.
the kids they told him to hire on.
Yeah, but that's not the reason he gives, though. And he's worried
Right.
about taking people away from the dining room.
Mhm.
Right.
Which, if you're eating a hot dog out of a cart from a weird kid on the beach, which granted he is
Mhm.
still wearing his like official polo shirt,
True.
so it does
Yes.
kind of look like it belongs to the club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could get him
But
for
still,
Oh.
I don't like. It's a different clientele.
that.
Right.
I would
This
eat
is
that
my
hot
theory.
dog. I'm saying I will eat a hot dog cart. I'll eat a
I'll eat-
gas station
Oh,
hot dog.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I always say there's like two foods I'll get out of a shack.
Yeah.
Is ice cream and seafood, and like, but only the seafood is only if I can see water.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Landlocked
I will
seafood,
eat
no.
seafood out of the shadiest place if I can see the
Mhm.
water.
Yeah.
I had fish sticks in Wyoming once. They were not
No.
good.
No,
Yeah. Like, dude on the side of the road on the way to the beach. No,
absolutely.
that's
Not so
question.
much.
That's
If you can
not.
see the water, yes. Dude on the
Mhm.
side of the road selling barbecue out of a shack that looks like it's made out of tin and could fall down at the slightest
Yeah.
breeze.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
getting
that's-
that.
If it's
Mhm.
painted
For sure.
burgundy. If
Yeah.
it's not burgundy, I'm not going in there.
We're gonna have a talk about that after this.
But because the plot demands it, Zach keeps his job and is now made a waiter. And of course, he is doing great as a waiter, basically doing his same shtick inside with all the ladies. I do like that he's doing it with ladies of multiple ages this time,
Yeah,
and
he
showing,
figured it out.
yeah,
He
showing
watched Dirty Dancing and he got a lesson from Johnny, and he was like, I see. The
Oh
the
my
young ones
gosh.
don't have the money. I understand.
I don't think I ever would have compared Saved by the Bell to Dirty Dancing, but way to
Well,
go, Amy.
only the beach episodes, because it's the same thing. It's a resort, right? You're
Right,
working at a
exactly.
resort, so you got to know what to do.
Yep.
Right.
So then Zach comes to wait on Stacy, who's sitting there. He gives her grief about, hey, staff aren't supposed to eat in here. She's like, well, I'm the boss's daughter, so I can.
Now, he's the boss, but is he the owner? Because he
Yes.
doesn't give me vibes of the owner.
He doesn't give you vibes, but he says it first thing.
That's right.
Like, I own the Malibu, as owner of the Malibu
I feel like
Sands.
you should definitely be delegating more.
Right.
Right.
So Zach's trying to take Stacy's order, not doing a great job because it's Stacy, and she's not impressed at all. Screech comes to borrow a comb in the middle of this lovely conversation. And she says, see, Screech is doing a good job and trying to help people. You should do that. And Zach's just like, whatever, and walks away in a huff. Screech comes back because the comb he needed was to get pasta out of some lady's hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure we don't see it, but I'm pretty sure Stacy would have said, okay, great, keep the comb.
Yeah. That's your comb now. Enjoy. Use it in good health.
Yeah. So this is actually where they decide to have the party at the club. They're in it's like Kelly, Jesse, and Slater in the staff lounge talking about it. And then Zach storms in, all ticked off.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stacy comes in right behind him, asks to have a little chat with just him. Everybody else
Because
goes
he's
away.
talking about her. Like, don't.
Yeah.
Hey, gang.
True.
Hey. Don't talk about someone where they very likely could overhear you.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
So
gonna
it
talk
all-
about somebody, do it at the pub after
Yeah.
work, far
Yeah.
across town.
That said, I do think the staff lounge is the safest place you could have that conversation.
Yeah.
And that's the
Except
only place you should.
she do be staff.
Yeah, if it had a
You're right.
door,
That
Yeah.
too.
True.
it echoes out of that room like crazy.
Right.
I mean, middle of the beach, she's got that blazer on. You're going to see her coming from a mile
Yeah.
away.
Right.
And a person can hear their name like
Yeah.
out of. I
Oh,
mean, we
yeah.
hear it when it's not even there. you can ignore most everything until I just randomly hear Steve, and then I'm like, who said that?
There
Where
was
are
somebody
you?
with my
Across
name
the
at the
room.
dentist office the other day, and I lost
Oh.
my mind.
Oh, it's
Oh,
awful. Yeah.
oh.
You're
was
like,
upset.
talking to me?
No.
Yep. I don't even get my exact name, but there's enough close to it. Then I'm like, what?
Oh,
What?
yeah,
Can you
yeah.
say my-
Yeah.
So,
Dottie,
anyway, she-
Lottie, Potty.
Uh-huh.
So many
What?
names.
What?
right. It can happen. They get close,
They do.
especially when you're not paying attention and you don't hear it correctly.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's better. That gets worse as you get older, too.
Mhm. So
Welcome to
Stacey
Middle
comes-
Age Corner.
Right. So Stacy comes in to tell Zach to get back to work, and he just goes off on her, calling her out for looking down her nose at everybody, not wanting to be anyone's friend and get to know them, and that she doesn't even belong in the staff lounge. And
I'll give her
only for
maybe
real
maybe
employees.
the last one,
Mhm.
right.
but she's their boss.
And I had to love the audience in the background because there's
Yes!
definitely somebody who said busted.
Busted. I wrote that down. It was so good.
The
Mhm.
It was
indoor
hilarious.
scenes, I get those are on a set, but the laugh track when they're outside annoyed the hell out of
Oh,
me
it's very
for some
off-putting.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just feels wrong.
You know, it's not
Yep.
supposed. It's not really there. You can't even pretend.
Right.
Also, they filmed this on the cloudiest, haziest beach day they
Yeah.
could have
Right.
possibly filmed
Mhm.
it on.
Well,
And they
I'm
did it at night too, because the sun was definitely shining off. Like they needed to deal with the
Mhm.
light, so it's like it's close to
Yeah.
evening. It's time to start eating dinner.
Well, I'm sure they were on a TV schedule and just shot when they could. You
That's
know?
probably.
And it's like, weather be damned, we've got to get this done. All right, then we cut to a scene where Kelly's doing her lifeguard thing, and this is the scene where Kelly shows her stuff because the idiot club member is out there in the water, and she's like, "Come back in. There's an undertow." Of course, he
And he
doesn't come
blows her
back in.
kisses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he blows her
stupid.
kisses, totally ignores her.
Let him drown.
Just don't run as fast as you could to get there.
Right. But Kelly's a good lifeguard, and she runs after him. She saves him. Everybody's impressed.
But of course, Mr. Kurosi's like, "Oh no, she can't save him."
Yeah, there's no way she could say, "Look, she's bringing him back in."
What?
Okay. Well, if I'm gonna hire a female lifeguard, I'm gonna hire the best. Yeah, way to save your ass there, Kurosi.
It's the worst. Just the
And
worst.
even when she brings him up to the shore, he's like, "Don't let him swim that far again."
Yeah, it's her fault.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like whatever.
I could, watching this episode, I could hear Amy's eyes rolling.
Hurt
Yeah.
so much. They were gonna
Every
get
time.
stuck that way.
I know.
Ugh.
So we get that scene, and then we cut to the actual party happening. The guys bring Zach to the club under the pretense of meeting some babes. They take him into the next room, and there's everybody and a bunch of other people we don't know and nobody else knows,
Irrelevant.
but they're extra people that apparently know Zach, and they start having the party.
Someone said there's
And-
cake in the room, and they just showed up.
They
Yeah.
were like there.
Mhm. That's what you do on the job. If there's cake, you go to where
You
the
go
cake
to the where the cake is. Yeah.
Mhm.
hmm
But first, they got to do a little dancing, your typical 90s school dancing in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring out the cake. And I love that they showed it, and on the cake was "Happy Wrong Number by the Sea."
That was good.
That's awesome. I love that.
So,
Which I mean, the mere fact that a cake got made seems
Yeah.
wild, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
surely you would be like, well, no.
right after that hang up, I'd be like, okay, guess we're not doing that cake. Unless she called back or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, they ask Zach to make a wish, and that's when Kurosi comes in and says, you're going to wish for new jobs because you're all fired. And then Stacy comes in right behind him and says, nope,
I
It's
said
fine.
they could do it.
I gave him permission, thought I would be a gesture of goodwill to the staff. And Kurosi, of course, is just like, oh, okay, well, next time, let me know, because I was, you should, why didn't you say anything? She's like,
Mhm.
you were out the door before I got a chance to say a word, which I would totally believe anyways.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach and Stacy have a little heartwarming little conversation.
Oh, the seeds of romance.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So even spoiled brats have their moment. And then as she's leaving, like, if you want to buy me a present, I need a new surfboard, dude. And that's how we end this episode.
Aw.
One. So that was Saved by the Bell at the Malibu Sands. What do we think, gang? Amy, start with you.
I mean, I did a lot of eye rolling, like Travis said, like for sure. For sure. I did a lot of heavy breathing of being mad about it. But I mean, yeah, Zach really is like a less charming Ferris Bueller.
Yes.
And you know, like I'd kind of forgot, like I'm like, oh no, so much was just subconsciously put into my poor teenage brain, and I really would probably be a better person if I hadn't watched this, but it was everywhere, so there was not, you know, it's not like I wasn't going to pick it up anyway, but I was like, oh, this is damaging media. But it was good, like it was fun, like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed going back and seeing everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was good.
Yeah. Steven, what about you?
I loved it. I would throw this on in the background just like I ever would. It was weird watching it with today's lens though, because like Amy did, I rolled my eyes plenty. Because it's weird the way the Jesse Slater relationship's always the toughest one, right? And the toughest characters. Because you could walk away depending on which side you want to land on, thinking one or the other is terrible. Like back then, I could see, you know, you're a real feminist. You're like, Jesse's right all the time. But if you're a super macho dude, you're like, yeah, tell her, Slater. And you could walk out of that scenario.
And if Screech wasn't so weird, that one gets real questionable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's weird how you could walk away with whatever you wanted from this show. And either side you could play it for laughs. But it's a fascinating glimpse back into the early 90s and what we would put in TV that was just either normal or played for laughs or whatever it might be.
Right.
But yeah, overall, I mean, it's Saved by the Bell, man. This is in my genes somewhere at this point. It's melded with me. I know it. It's my show.
Yep. Travis?
I had a good time. I mean, it was exactly what I remembered the show being. It's goofy. I remember even at the time being like, man, Slater, I don't like Slater because he was such a meathead jock. And like being around those guys all the time doing a lot of sports, like it just bugged me. But no, I had a good time with it. Plus I had the biggest crush on Kelly Kapowski possible.
Who didn't?
And so, I mean, fair.
Right. So yeah, and I'm in the same boat. I mean, it was Saved by the Bell. It was just nostalgia bomb.
Yeah.
So, and especially these summer episodes, like I feel like I'm gonna go watch all of those and just kind of get that whole story.
Yeah.
You know, see Zack and Stacy fall in love, and then break up because he's got to leave and go back to school.
Yeah. The old summer love.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's Saved by the Bell. It thinking about it, I was like, it's that weird show where it's like you said, Steven, it's so goofy, but it's right on the line of not too goofy. But it's goofy enough that it can get away with what it does.
Yeah.
And it does it so well. So, but anyways, that was Saved by the Bell. Let us know what you thought of the show. Did we get any feedback this week at all on it?
Oh, what a good question. It's so convenient. I always remember to bring up this email before we do the show.
Well, we've never done this before.
Yeah, so I don't even know. Hey, no, we do not. Okay, so we don't have any email feedback, but Travis let us all know and let the internet know that for some reason, unbeknownst to us, we're number 24 on a list of 60 best classic TV podcasts. So whoever out there aggregated that list or put it together or voted for us or sent us reviews or whatever, thank you. 24 is a pretty great number out of 60, which is great considering we didn't know anybody.
60 is a wild number for there to be.
That's because there's only 60. Only 60 with more than 10 episodes. Because as we all know, podcasts don't make it that far.
Right.
right?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for all your support. If you haven't ever reviewed us, those are actually really helpful. So if
Yeah.
you're out there
Yeah.
on your podcast player and you just want to throw down 5 stars, that would be huge for us. So yeah, but thank you for that.
Mhm.
Yep. We did get one little bit of feedback on Blue Sky. A stigma, Sean Bloom, said, I have many vivid memories of watching this show, the spin offs and the specials movies with my siblings. I still haven't seen the newer show yet, but I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious because I just want to see Zach Morris as the governor of California.
I can't. It's too much.
It's a lot.
In this,
It is a lot.
if the climate in the real world were not what it currently is, I could maybe enjoy that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just make him the principal or something. Just go real cheesy.
Right.
It's just like, look, we don't have to make him governor.
Mm-hmm.
What does he
So-
know?
Instead, just watch all the other stuff they're doing that's not Saved by the Bell. I mean, everybody's gone on to do all kinds of other stuff. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I will
Elizabeth
say-
Berkley had a great career there after Saved by the
Mhm.
Bell, from what I hear.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
She did a little show, with
Yeah.
some girls.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I remember
Um,
Entertainment Tonight talking all about that for a solid month.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a thing.
I will say, if you're the social media type, that Tiffany Amber Thiessen is a really fun follow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, she does a lot of day in her life stuff, a lot of cooking stuff, and just having fun with it. So, if you want a good Hollywood follow, she's a good one for
Cool.
sure. So, but yeah, that's it for Saved by the Bell. I think, Steven, you're bringing us something next week. Right?
Yes, we are going on location once again. And much like we do in Saved by the Bell was kind of a no-brainer for on location. I think we've even talked about it as a group before about different things. Well, I'm
Mhm.
going to take us to the other no-brainer of on location. We're going to watch The Brady Bunch. Season 4,
Yes.
episode 2. This is the mid episode of the trilogy of the Hawaii episodes, past the taboo. It's on Paramount Plus. It's been a million years since I watched it, and the only reason we aren't doing episode 1 is because it's not available, and I think that's because that's the episode with Don Ho in it, and he did some music, and they
yeah.
can't
Yeah, that'll
play
be-
it. So
Yeah.
Paramount Plus has
Lord.
episode 2 and 3 of the Hawaii trilogy. So yeah, check that out. Brady Bunch season 4, episode 2, Past the Taboo.
Nice. Now, if you want to let us know what you think about the Brady Bunch or what you think about Saved by the Bell, definitely let us know. We do have an email that Steven checks at just the right time when we're talking about stuff in the show.
Every week.
Those were the day show at gmail.com, or hit us up on the Blue Sky, like Travis mentioned, those day show.blueski.social, or
Yes.
just come hang out in the chat with us when we record every Monday night at 9 o'clock, like A Stigma did and Poseidon Reef did tonight.
Yeah.
We would love to have you with us live, chatting with us, throwing stuff at us. By all means, we love to have this be a show where you're involved as much as we are. So definitely let us know your thoughts and opinions on Saved by the Bell and the Brady Bunch. So thank you for listening on the podcast. Thanks to everybody in the live chat. For Travis, for Steven, and for Amy, I'm Audie, and you've been listening to Those Were the Days. Go watch some more summer TV, and we'll see you next week.